Good evening. This is Digital Asset Guy. Let's get right into it. I Trust Capital, my favorite crypto custodian, is offering a 2% match on transfers that are in kind to a tax advantage crypto IRA. Boy, I really wish they were offering this when I did my in kind transfer or conversion, whatever you call it. I was bringing a traditional retirement over to a traditional IRA at iTrust, so it was tax-free at the time. Would have been nice if I could have done this, so that's just something to look into. Again, iTrust is my favorite place to buy and sell crypto. I do that inside of a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA or their all-new premium custody account that is not an IRA, but it's just a place for you to buy, sell, hold crypto. And they have institutional grade custody, which means it's their job to keep it safe. And there's only a 1% trading fee. So that is my favorite place to deal in crypto. Before I get started, I just want to go ahead and remind everyone, nothing that I say or show or talk about in this video is financial or investment advice, just my own personal thoughts and opinions. Let's get right into the news. Just in, Trump media buys 451 Bitcoin worth over $40 million. That's not surprising to me, especially if you see what Eric Trump has posted this year. Of course, he was calling for an unbelievable Q4. We're not really having that, but I think these guys know what's coming down the road, and they're all in the legislation. CFTC Chairman Michael Selig, I think that's how you say it, says Congress is poised to send crypto market structure legislation to President Trump's desk. We know this is going to happen at some point. It's going to happen when they want it to happen. I've been saying, I was getting the vibe that once this got taken away with the government shutdown, it might be like next cycle. Now I'm kind of, as I'm watching the charts, I'm kind of getting the idea that we might be kind of in, this bear market where the price is down maybe for a year or so, but then we start back up. And we've been in 4-year cycles. That might be done where we're doing kind of like a 5-year cycle. But I have a feeling when we go ahead and bottom here, whether we get down to 60, 70,000 on the way up, that's where they might drop this news. So let's go ahead and look at the market today. We got an $88,000 Bitcoin, kind of matching that 2021 cycle. Wouldn't surprise me to see us do a retrace up above 100, but looks like we're kind of in bear market mode here for a while. There's still a lot of people who are bullish, but I just don't see how we would turn around and go make a new all-time high and just blast off again. It's just sentiment is different now. The Clarity Act is not there, and if it were to be passed, I don't know if that's enough juice to just all of a sudden get us back $1 trillion to go. I think we're at 4.2 trillion was the highest. I just don't think we're going to all of a sudden turn around and shoot back up there. I think it'll be another cycle, but that's just me. XRP at $1.88. This thing's starting to look good. It's just stair-step down. Right about here, I released that one. I posted that one video where I said it shook me to my core to see this pattern and blockchain backer sell a third. And I didn't want to admit it, but I've been here for a while, since 2016. And right here on this day, on one of my walking videos, I said I'm a little afraid people are about to get wrong-footed, where they're just buying their first crypto ever, like right here, and thinking this is how it is all the time. But it's not, Crypto's not a get-rich-quick scheme at all. And you got to be here a while and round trip some of these market cycles to figure that out. Cardano's looking good. I'd love to see a 25-cent Cardano. I'd love to see a Stellar back under 10 cents. Don't know if we'll get it. I'd love to see a Hedera hash graph under 10 cents. We're probably going to get it. We're almost back down there. I'd love to see a V-chain down here at half a penny again. Ooh, number 65. I remember I was in V-chain. I think I've told this story on here before, but before we did this, I remember I put in a little money back down here where it was fractions of a penny. And I remember when it got down really low, somebody said, is VeChain still a thing on Twitter or X? It was like down here at 0.2 of a penny. That's when I should have really bought more. Again, not financial or investment advice, but I remember somebody saying, is it still a thing? But I didn't buy more because I was afraid, oh, maybe it's not a thing. But then we rip up to 30 cents. It was like a 60x in that short amount of time. Just unbelievable. I think we'll do that again someday on VeChain. But anyway, and then if you can buy VeChain at iTrust, and if you've got it inside of an IRA and you were to get a giant move like that, you can day trade in that thing and there's no tax consequences. It would be quite a rush. I've felt that before. It's really, yeah, and again, in my personal opinion, not financial or investment advice, I think it's kind of crazy to not have crypto in a Roth because of the volatility. It's a good thing. And I don't think crypto's going anywhere unless we shut down the internet. So anyway, that's the big news of the day. Here is SEC Chair Paul Atkins saying all U.S. markets will be on-chain within 2 years. That's a big statement.
Tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on-chain to be able to, that represent, say, an underlying security. And so then that tokenized security is a security and would be subject to SEC rules by law. But the idea is that if it's on-chain, on a blockchain, then there's much more transparency as to where it is. Right now, there's a bit of opacity as to who owns what and where the company usually doesn't even know where its who its shareholders are and where the shareholders reside, where the shares reside. So tokenization has the benefit of potentially having, instead of T+1 now trade date +1 for clearance and settlement, the prospect of maybe T0. Now, depending on the instrument, and we have to think about netting and all sorts of other things with respect to some instruments. But in principle, the idea of on-chain delivery versus payment and receipt versus payment, DVP, RVP on-chain, is a prospect of de-risking the markets, making them much more transparent and then sure as far as clearance and settlement, because it's always that the gap between clearance and settlement and then delivery and payment.
So anyway, you can watch the rest of that, but I think that's a huge statement. I think it'll only make sense. I mean, when you have things on a blockchain, it's transparent. You can, see what's going on at all times. Everyone can see. Some people argue maybe they don't want things to be transparent, but I think that's where it gets kind of interesting. But I think things like, the DMV, I hate going to the DMV. They put theirs on a blockchain in California, and I hear that it's going well. Everything that you had to stand in line and wait for at the physical place, you can do asynchronously online. I think that's how a lot of things are going to work in business and in government, and it's hard to imagine, but it's kind of like when things started going online when we first got the internet. People would say, oh, you got to the right way to do it is by mail or going into your bank. What is this online banking? This is like the next step of that, where it's like online, but it's transparent and just a lot more efficient. So it's going to be hard for people to imagine, but when it's here, I mean, it's already here, but when we're using it and it starts improving things, everyone will be a believer, just like the internet and social media. So it's going to be exciting to watch. One thing that really is concerning me, and I'm hearing a lot about, I'm a millennial, and I know that these times, they are tough, and it really kind of bothers me when I hear other people from other generations saying we're lazy or whatever, or the job market isn't, it's as hard as it's always been, but that's really not the case. And times are hard. It's not just financial, not just jobs. Relationships, friendships are very difficult, in my opinion. But so go ahead and take a listen to this video to put things into perspective a little bit.
Young Americans are barely keeping their head above water, with just 1 in 6 saying they are financially secure, in case you wonder why they're ready to burn it all down. So says a new poll from the Harvard Kennedy School, which finds that most young people think they will never achieve financial stability. As you'd expect, it's worse for those without a college degree, but even with a degree, almost a third are living paycheck to paycheck. Of course, partly because they're carrying student loans for a degree that, according to a recent study, costs $300,000 on average for a BA. Disturbingly, the poll found it's getting worse as they get older, with those in their late 20s in even worse shape than early 20s. It's not just financial. The poll finds that just 1 in 6 young people report having deep social connections or feeling deeply connected to their community. Now, I mentioned in recent videos how young Americans are the loneliest generation, which is driving depression, obesity, and addiction. This apparently got a lot worse during the COVID lockdowns, with socially isolated young people reporting higher rates of depression, especially those who were in high school or college during the pandemic. According to the Harvard poll, a majority of young people who were socially isolated during the pandemic reported symptoms of depression. This all is...
So anyway, it's kind of interesting, but it's, this stuff is real. And since the pandemic, I've seen it firsthand in my own life, and I just think it's very challenging how, like, Gen Z, they have it even worse than we do as millennials. And I'm seeing them graduate from college, and they're not able to find a job. And I get it. I went through something that was really just horrendous myself. I tried to make a career change, and I thought I was doing something really like smart and something that was going to work out and be worth it, and it just turned out to be it just did not work out. I couldn't stay. It was not what I signed up for. And then crypto basically turned this terrible, horrendous career change gone wrong. I'm going to make a video someday explaining it. It's hard to explain it, but crypto turned this terrible decision that I made upside down and made things work out better than they ever could have. And my point with all this is, even though we have really tough times, this new technology and asset class, crypto, it's coming out at the perfect time and maturing into, it's a small market that has been the most powerful in any of our lifetimes. And it just kind of baffles me how a lot of young people are not taking crypto seriously. They're not learning about it. They're not investing. Not that I give financial or investment advice, but I don't know what I would have done if I wouldn't have got into crypto and invested. It's changed my life. And then the funny thing is, though, it has made my life more difficult in other aspects, like friendships, relationships. Don't even get me started on dating. It is just insanely difficult today. I've almost been engaged a couple times, and if I wasn't in crypto, I probably would be married with kids, but it's just strange how this new asset class that brings so much opportunity can make things harder in other ways. It's just so backwards. But here's a picture of me teaching one of my in-person classes. I usually don't get a lot of people who show up to these, but then like afterwards, at the top of this cycle, this is a screenshot from my phone where I had like 350 people, reaching out on all social media, and they all want to like play 20 questions. But then when I have an in-person class where I'm saying, these are my personal thoughts, this is what I did, this is what I think about the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, people aren't willing to like put in the work to understand. But crypto, the timing couldn't be better, because wealth is never created or destroyed. It's just transferred. And I do believe this is the greatest wealth transfer in human history. And it's coming out of government fiat currencies going into crypto, and also gold, silver, precious metals. And, I almost, with the success that I've had, it's changed my life. I almost feel a responsibility to teach others about it. And even if one person shows up to my class, I am happy, and I feel like I'm making a difference. So just something that I'm a little concerned about, and I'm even dealing with myself. We're having an identity crisis. So, trying to be the digital asset guy and have in-person classes and put these videos out and try to teach people about it, it gives me a sense of purpose, and that's just something I'm really passionate about. Okay, I'm trying to keep these videos shorter, but if you find value in this video, please hit the like and subscribe. Please share this video with anyone who you think it would have value to. And thank you for being with me. I'll probably take the rest of the week off for Christmas. So have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you when we get back. Digital Asset Guy out.